Hello everyone. In this video you will get to learn more about the history and perspectives on human trafficking, as well as some statistics, and I will also be showing some short clips of people who were affected by this horrible crime. I'm going to get straight into the video. Enjoy. Okay guys, I'm going to start this video off by showing you a timeline of important events regarding human trafficking dating back to the 1400s all the way to modern time. In the early 1400s, European slave trading began. The Portuguese started off by transporting people from Africa to Portugal to use as slaves. Then in 1562, the British joined in with the slave trade. More countries eventually started joining in the 1600s, such as Spain, North America, Holland, France, Sweden, and Denmark. In 1904, the International Agreement for the Suppression of White Slave Traffic was signed. This protected white women, young and old, from being trafficked. This was later changed in 1927 to the trafficking in women and children so that there was no discrimination in race. In 1956, India initiated the Immoral Traffic Act, which persecuted the third parties involved in trafficking. This act ultimately failed because many women who were forced into prostitution were sent from the brothels into the dangerous streets. In 2002, the Polaris Project was founded by two Brown University students after learning about a brothel near their campus. They have a toll-free hotline to report human trafficking, and they advocate for more legislation while raising awareness and even training police to deal with human trafficking. To this day, they are still a leading nonprofit for human trafficking. In 2009, Chinese police had a huge breakthrough, rescuing 178 children in one day while arresting 608 suspects. And in China, from 2009 to 2011, there were over 7,000 rings busted, saving 18,518 children and 34,813 women over this span. I will now be showing you guys a short clip put out by Kent Police in the United Kingdom on human trafficking. So as you can see from the first few scenes of the video, there was first thing I noticed was a cash only sign, which is really suspicious nowadays with all the online paying debit cards, and the young girl working at the nail salon, and the woman comes in talking on her phone, paying with cash. Okay, so obviously the woman came in to buy her as a sex slave, and she was shipped somewhere. As you could see by the passport, the plane ticket, and the message Kent Police put out was, "Can you see me?" Like, she was right out in the open at a public nail salon working. If someone suspects it, they should report it. That's the message they're trying to put across. Okay, I will now be showing you guys two different perspectives on human trafficking, and the first one is the government. They were working countless hours to combat human trafficking with over 13 different agencies working together to end this. Okay, the first department we are going to be looking at is the Department of Transportation. They work with Amtrak and commercial airlines to train employees on how to recognize and report human trafficking. This is very important because it's hard to recognize human trafficking. Sometimes it could be hidden, but if they know how to recognize it, they can report it and stop the human trafficking. And they also need to know how to report it too, because those people can be dangerous if you try to confront them person to person. Okay, the next department we will be looking at is the Department of Justice. What they do is investigate cases of human trafficking, and they prosecute the traffickers. This is one of the most important pieces to the puzzle of stopping human trafficking by just getting these people off the streets and putting them in jail for a long time. Next is the Department of Defense. What they do is they ensure that defense agencies have the necessary tools to prevent trafficking. This is really important, especially in the high trafficking areas such as Florida and California. We need to have the tools to prevent it in those areas. Okay, so that was the government's perspective on human trafficking, and I'm going to switch it up a little bit and show you a first person.
A break from the life was to basically go into a store and steal in plain sight while my pimp was outside in the car. If I was caught stealing, I would eventually get arrested and I would go to juvenile hall. For most girls or most kids, they will see it as a punishment, but it was structure in my life. It was a safe place and I knew that no one will be able to harm me. My life basically changed once I was beaten by my pimp. And I was in a hospital for a short stint of time and I knew that this was my way out. I was turning 18 and there was no more safety net. So if I was to get in trouble, if I was to steal to get away from a pimp, I was going to the county, and that was a whole nother world that I did not want to be a part of. So I took that opportunity to leave California in hopes of leaving the life. I realized that I was a victim, and then I became a survivor, and now I am a warrior.
That was just a very inspirational video I felt I had to share for this project because she was a sex slave her whole childhood and now she's giving other people hope that they can transition out of it and move on to normal life, which can be hard because if they're sex slave for long enough, they're not used to normal life, having a real job or anything. Okay, the last thing I'm going to be going over in this video are the similarities and differences regarding human trafficking in our culture. A similarity is that illegal immigrants come into the United States and are being paid well under the minimum wage by companies and farmers that just exploit them to get cheap workers to do their jobs, which is similar to human trafficking in a way, such as the pimp will get sex slaves to work for them, and the pimp keeps all the money, gets all the profit from it. Okay, so those were the similarities. Now I'm going to go over the differences. And one key difference here is that there are some immigrants that can come in legally and get well-paying jobs, while the other half comes in illegally and gets bad-paying jobs, like way less than minimum wage. And the ones that come in legally have to get minimum wage at least. So the one way to build this bridge is to allow the immigrants to come in easier, so fewer will have to come in illegally and more will come in legally and not be exploited for their work. This is the end of my video for human trafficking. Thank you for watching.